The Girl Who Saw Through My Walls. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another English Through Stories. I'm excited you're here with me today to practice speaking English in a natural and engaging way. Today, we're going to use the shadowing technique with a beautiful story about connection and healing. What is shadowing? It's simple. Listen to me speak, then repeat the words immediately after me. Try to match my voice, my rhythm, and my emotion. You become like my shadow. This technique will help you improve your pronunciation, rhythm, and confidence when speaking English. It's one of the most effective ways to sound more natural. Our story today is called The Girl Who Saw Through My Walls. It's about a young man named Daniel who built walls around his heart after years of loneliness. But sometimes the right person can help us tear down those walls. Are you ready to practice? Let's begin this touching journey together, and please like this video and subscribe to our channel for more stories like this one. My name is Daniel Carter. I am 23 years old. I live in a small coastal town in Oregon. My life has been quiet for as long as I can remember. I lost my mother when I was 8 years old. She got sick and never recovered. My father couldn't handle the grief. He started drinking. He became distant and cold. He never talked about her. He never talked about anything important. People leave, Daniel, he told me once. Don't expect them to stay. It will only hurt you. I believed him. I built walls around my heart, high walls, strong walls. I decided I didn't need anyone. At school, I was always alone. Other kids played together during lunch. They shared their lunches and their secrets. I sat by myself, reading books. When someone tried to talk to me, I gave short answers. When someone invited me to their birthday party, I said no. Teachers worried about me. Daniel is very intelligent, they told my father, but he doesn't connect with other students. My father didn't care. He doesn't need friends, he said. Friends disappoint you. After high school, I got a job at the town library. It was perfect for me. Quiet, peaceful. Books didn't leave you. Books didn't break your heart. I worked there for 3 years. Every day was the same. I organized books. I helped a few customers. I ate lunch alone. I went home to my small apartment. I watched TV and went to bed early. I thought this was my life. I thought I was content. I told myself I didn't need anything more. Then she walked into the library. It was a Tuesday morning in September. Rain was falling softly outside. The library was almost empty. I was putting returned books back on the shelves when I heard footsteps. A young woman approached the front desk. She had curly brown hair and wore a simple blue dress. She looked around the library with curious eyes. "Excuse me?" she said with a warm smile. "I'm new in town. Could you help me find the local history section?" I looked at her briefly, then pointed toward the back corner. "Local history is in section 974, I said without making eye contact. "Thank you," she said. But she didn't move. She stood there looking at me with kind eyes. I felt uncomfortable. Most people took their information and left. This woman seemed different. "Are you the librarian?" she asked. "I work here," I replied, still not looking at her directly. She smiled wider. "I'm Grace Martinez. I just moved here from Portland. I'm a teacher at the elementary school." I nodded but didn't introduce myself. I hoped she would go away. She didn't. She walked to the history section, but I could feel her watching me as I worked. It made me nervous. An hour later, she came back to the desk with 3 books about the town's history. "These look fascinating," she said as I scanned the books. Have you lived here your whole life? Yes, I answered shortly. It must be wonderful to grow up near the ocean, she continued. I handed her the books without responding. She took them, but her fingers briefly touched mine. Her hands were warm. Thank you. She paused, waiting for my name. Daniel, I said reluctantly. Thank you, Daniel. I'm sure I'll see you again soon. After she left, I tried to focus on my work, but I kept thinking about her smile. It was genuine, not forced like most people's smiles. It reached her eyes. The next week, Grace returned. This time, she didn't just take books and leave. She asked me questions about the town, about good places to eat, about local events. I gave short answers, but she didn't seem discouraged. She listened carefully to everything I said, as if my words were important. You know a lot about this place, she said. You should write a guidebook. I almost smiled at that. Almost. Grace started coming to the library twice a week, always on Tuesday and Friday afternoons. She would check out books, but she would also sit at one of the tables and read for an hour. Sometimes I caught her looking at me while I worked. When our eyes met, she would smile and wave. I would quickly look away, my heart beating faster than usual. One Friday, she approached my desk with a different kind of request. Daniel, I'm trying to plan a field trip for my students. Could you recommend some books about local wildlife? I showed her to the nature section. As I pulled books from the shelf, she stood close beside me. I could smell her perfume. It was light and flowery. You really love books, don't you? She said softly. I paused. No one had ever asked me that before. They're reliable, I said. She tilted her head. Reliable? They don't change. They don't leave. They're always there when you need them. Grace was quiet for a moment. Then she said something that surprised me. People can be reliable too, if you let them. I looked at her then. Really looked at her. Her brown eyes were gentle but serious. She wasn't joking or being polite. She meant what she said. I don't think so, I replied quietly. Why? She asked. I turned away. It's complicated. She nodded. Most important things are. That evening, I couldn't stop thinking about our conversation. People can be reliable too, if you let them. What did she mean by that? The following Tuesday, Grace didn't come to the library. I told myself it didn't matter. I had work to do. But I found myself looking at the door every few minutes. She didn't come Friday either. The library felt different without her presence, quieter, emptier. The next Tuesday, she returned, but something was different. She looked tired. Her usual bright smile seemed forced. Are you okay? I asked before I could stop myself. She looked surprised that I had asked. I've had a difficult week, she said. My grandmother is very sick. I've been driving to Portland every day after school to visit her. I felt something strange in my chest. Concern. I'm sorry, I said. Thank you, she replied softly. It means a lot that you asked. She checked out her usual books, but she didn't stay to read. She left quickly. That night, I did something I had never done before. I worried about someone else. I wondered if Grace was okay, if her grandmother would recover, if she was getting enough sleep. The next Friday, Grace looked even more tired. Her eyes were red, as if she had been crying. How is your grandmother? I asked gently. Grace's eyes filled with tears. She passed away yesterday, she whispered. Without thinking, I walked around the desk and stood next to her. I'm very sorry for your loss, I said. She looked up at me with grateful eyes. Thank you, Daniel. She was like a mother to me after my parents died. My heart stopped. Your parents died? She nodded. Car accident when I was 16. My grandmother raised me from then on. I stared at her. She had lost her parents. She had been alone like me, but unlike me, she was still open, still trusting, still kind to strangers. How do you do it? I asked. Do what? Stay open after losing people you love. Grace was quiet for a long moment. Then she said, because the love was worth the pain, and because there are still good people in the world worth knowing. She looked directly at me when she said it. That weekend, I couldn't focus on anything. I kept thinking about Grace's words. The love was worth the pain. I had never thought about it that way. I had spent 15 years protecting myself from pain, but I had also protected myself from love, from friendship, from connection. Maybe Grace was right. Maybe some people were worth the risk. Monday morning, I did something completely out of character. I bought a sympathy card and flowers, small white daisies, simple and beautiful, like Grace. When she came to the library Tuesday afternoon, I was nervous. My hands were shaking as I approached her. Grace, I said quietly, I wanted to give you these for your grandmother. She stared at the flowers and card in shock. Tears filled her eyes. Daniel, thank you. This is so thoughtful. She read the card I had written. I'm sorry for your loss. Your grandmother raised someone very special. When she finished reading, she looked up at me with the brightest smile I had ever seen. Would you like to have coffee with me sometime? She asked. I'd like to hear more about this town, and I'd like to know more about you. My first instinct was to say no, to retreat behind my walls, but I looked at her hopeful face, and I heard my own voice say, yes, I'd like that. We met at a small cafe near the library that Saturday. I was terrified, but Grace made conversation easy. She asked about my childhood, my interests, my dreams. Slowly, I found myself talking, really talking, about books I loved, about the ocean that I walked by every morning, about my mother and how much I missed her. Grace listened to everything. She didn't judge. She didn't offer empty advice. She just listened with her whole heart. I'm glad you said yes to coffee, she said as we prepared to leave. Me too, I replied, and I meant it. Coffee became a weekly tradition, then twice a week. Then Grace started joining me for my morning walks along the beach. She told me about her students, about her dreams to write children's books, about her grandmother's garden that she was trying to learn to maintain. I told her about my fear of getting close to people, about my father's drinking, about the loneliness I had carried for so long. You're not alone anymore, she said one morning as we watched the sunrise over the ocean. You have me now, if you want me. I looked at her. Her hair was blowing in the ocean breeze. Her cheeks were pink from the cold morning air. She was beautiful, but more than that, she was kind. She was patient. She was reliable. I want that, I said. I'm scared, but I want that. She took my hand. Her fingers were cold from the morning air, but her touch was warm. It's okay to be scared, she said. I'm scared too, but some things are worth being scared for. 6 months later, Grace and I were inseparable. She helped me paint my apartment. I helped her plant new flowers in her grandmother's garden. We cooked dinner together. We read books together. We talked for hours about everything and nothing. My father noticed the change in me. You seem different, he said one day. Happier. I nodded. I am happier. Be careful, he warned. People leave. I looked at him sadly. Some do, But some stay. Grace stays. 1 year after we met, Grace and I were walking along the beach at sunset. The sky was painted in shades of pink and orange. The waves were gentle. "Daniel?" she said, stopping suddenly. "I have something to tell you." My heart jumped. Was she leaving? Was I going to lose her? "I got a job offer," she said, "in Seattle. It's a wonderful opportunity." My world stopped. She was leaving. My father had been right. People leave. "When?" I asked, my voice barely a whisper. "They want me to start in 3 months." I nodded, trying to hide my pain. "Congratulations. You deserve it." Grace smiled and took both of my hands. "Daniel, I'm not telling you this to say goodbye. I'm telling you this to ask if you'll come with me." I stared at her. "Come with you?" "Yes, move to Seattle, start fresh, together." "But my job? My life is here." "Your life is wherever you choose to make it," she said. "And I choose to make mine with you. If you'll have me." I looked at this incredible woman who had seen through all my walls, who had been patient with my fears, who had shown me that love was worth the risk. "Yes," I said, pulling her close. "Yes, I'll come with you, anywhere." We moved to Seattle that fall. I got a job at the university library. Grace started teaching at a school near our new apartment. We built a life together, a real life, full of love and laughter and shared dreams. Sometimes I think about the person I used to be, alone, afraid, protected by walls that no one could break through. Then I think about Grace and how she saw something in me that I couldn't see in myself. She didn't break down my walls. She showed me it was safe to take them down myself. Love isn't about finding someone who won't leave. It's about finding someone worth staying for, and being someone worth staying for too. Grace taught me that. She saved me from a life of loneliness. But more than that, she taught me how to save myself. What a beautiful journey Daniel and Grace shared, don't you think? Now it's time for you to practice. Watch this video again. Pause after each sentence and repeat using the shadowing technique. Copy my pronunciation, rhythm, and emotion. Remember, just like Daniel learned to open his heart, learning English requires courage and practice. Every sentence you repeat builds your confidence. Here's my question for you. Have you ever met someone who changed your perspective on life or relationships? Maybe a friend, teacher, or partner who helped you see yourself differently. Share your story in the comments below. If this story touched your heart, please like this video. Subscribe to our channel and click the bell icon for more emotional stories that will help you practice English naturally. Thank you for practicing with me today. Remember, like Grace showed Daniel, it's worth taking chances on beautiful things, including learning English. See you in the next story.